Hello, everyone. We'll get started in about a minute or so. So find yourself a nice cozy spot and maybe have a bolster or pillow, one or two or three, however many soft, cozy cushions you might want to incorporate during class. Last week we worked with the Emperor, and that was a class of sturdiness and structure. I'm going back to the previous way where it's mostly like all intuitive for the class for this one today, but I do know part of me is like, we need some softness, we need some more fluffy cushion. So if you have like a pillow or maybe a really fluffy blanket or something cozy, I feel that today. But we'll begin by sitting or however else you want to position your body as we sit and breathe and center ourselves to find some focus in class at the beginning here. Okay. I will pull these cards and then I will show you. Cool. Okay, we have the Priestess of Swords. In some decks, that light's kind of glary. Okay. In some decks, they use Queen instead of Priestess. And we have the image here. Soak it in. Notice what you notice. And where is it? Oh, the High Priestess. Look at that. Here's what they look like next to one another. All right. Let's get started with a check-in for ourselves and a brief meditation. Again, however you want to be positioned. Take a few moments to scan the body and center it. Noticing the floor beneath you, the air around you, and any movement within you. Taking in your surroundings. Noticing the stable ground, the stillness of your floor. Noticing the movement of your breath in relationship to this still, grounded floor. Noticing wherever you chose to place your hands, whether it be with the palms facing up or down. Just notice what you chose. Good. Let's take a few moments to think our thoughts and feel our feelings and breathe our breath. Allowing the breath to elongate and slow down and deepen your experience here. Big breath in, Sending it through the belly, through the lungs, through the collarbone, the throat, the spine even. Notice whenever you release the breath. Good. Really tuning into the filling up of these inhales, the growth, the lift, the flight, and the release of the exhales. Let's take another breath together. Good. So I referenced my guidebook to talk about the High Priestess, to see what they wrote about it. There were a lot of specific images in that one. So I'll read. It says, the goddess asks the High Priestess to be a guardian at the gateway. The High Priestess accepts this responsibility of sitting with open arms at the doorway of life and death. The gateway is made up of two pillars. The pillar on the left is the owl goddess in abstract form. The owl has distilled knowledge from her life's experiences. On the right is a pillar with the geometric design symbolizing what remains to be done and what lies ahead. So we have the High Priestess here with open arms at the doorway of life and death. In between a pillar of distilled knowledge from experiences in the past and what remains to be done, what lies ahead. And that is a great representation of what the High Priestess is. This card is the second in the major arcana. Third card, technically number 2. We go 0, 1, 2. So this is a number of duplication and reflection, perhaps some mirroring, some internal intuition, deepening, and this balance between the past and the future, just being here in open arms in the present. So notice where your hands are again. Come back into your body. And we'll bring our hands to outside our hips with the palms facing up. Good. It doesn't matter, you can do this if you chose to lie down. You can just bring your hands by your side with the palms facing up. Or if you're seated, just maybe allowing the backs of the fingers to come towards the floor, maybe the back of the hand if it reaches. And noticing each finger. And maybe allow some space to grow in between each finger, expanding them out like antennae. And allow them to hover just a little above the floor. Maybe it's so close to the floor that you can still feel its presence. But allowing the hands to no longer make physical contact with the floor, just be surrounded by the air. Good. Keep noticing your hands and the rest of your body. And take a few more deep, full breaths, just like before. Nice, slow, intentional breaths. And take a few moments here. Good. Noticing the hands and the air that surrounds the hands. Tune into the element of the air and the air that you're breathing. Feeling that cycle. And knowing the air that you exhale gets sent into this room that you're in, which is the same air that you're breathing in. And in your mind, we can recall this image of the High Priestess that we saw on the card, with these open palms, arms, hearts, and minds. Take a deep breath here. Notice the exhale. Allow the image to go away. And then recall the image of the Priestess of Swords, a snowy image with the full moon and the owl flying. So we have another reference to owls, this perceptive creature, this nocturnal creature that can turn their head all around and see in all directions. Have all this insight. Swords is ruled by the element of air. So we can think of mental clarity when it comes to this card. Again, tuning into the air element throughout this meditation. Really feel this and notice if there's any insight that this Queen of Swords can give you. Feel the length of your spine and the length of your breath. They might be related. And allow this next breath to really influence your body here. Breathe in and out deeply and fully. Good, and at your own pace, you can raise the arms up overhead. If you are lying down, you can keep the arms hovering over the floor, up by your head. If you're seated, just noticing the arms reaching up towards the sky. Noticing this length that we're creating here. And then pause whenever you have reached the top, whatever that means for you and your body and practice today. And feel those fingers again, spreading wide. Feel the connection with the floor that you have. Feel this present moment. Breathe in fully and deeply. When you exhale, bring the hands together and lower the thumb knuckles to the third eye. Good, taking a couple moments, maybe even rubbing these thumb knuckles in circles or from side to side over your forehead. And then pausing for a little bit of stillness here. Both of these cards deal with a sense of wisdom and trust and faith. Wisdom from past experiences. Trust to get through the present moments. And faith of what lies ahead will be positive. Take another breath. And when you exhale, slowly bring the hands back down, releasing them maybe to your lap, to the floor, to the heart and belly perhaps. And then take a couple moments to recenter and regroup. Let's come to a standing forward fold. You can take our time to get there. Really notice the feet connecting with the floor when that happens. Allow yourself to just hinge forward and bow down. You might shift your weight a little bit or bend your knees one at a time. Maybe roll out the ankles, wiggle out the hips. Ragdoll maybe, grabbing opposite elbows. And shake the head yes and no. Good. With an inhale, find a halfway lift. Strong legs, strong core, long spine. Bringing the shoulder blades together, embracing the hands on the shins or thighs. Good. Feel this corner, this 90-degree angle that your body is creating. Breathe into those opposing directions, that perpendicular form. Whenever you exhale, drop it back to a forward fold. And shake and loosen and let go for a couple moments. Good. As you're ready, your next inhale, find a strong halfway lift again. Engaging, noticing your awareness in your form. Whenever you exhale, come back down to a forward fold. So we can pass this back and forth. It might be one breath per movement. You might be a little slower and hang out for a breath or two. We'll take about 30 of them total. Actually, no, 20. Let's not do 30. You might count them or not. Just find your own flow in this back and forth.
And notice the next few breaths that you take. With these next breaths, really notice your feet on the floor as you breathe. Maybe shift your weight from the toes to the heels, from the inner ankle to the outer ankle. Then we'll begin to bend our knees generously here and allow our bellies to come onto our thighs. You can continue to kind of rock a little bit here. Good. Rocking until you find a nice sense of balance and even distribution of your weight on the feet. And then when you're ready, lift that tailbone, straighten through the knees a little bit to find that length in the hips and deepening from the top of the head down to the floor, noticing the spine. One last breath in a forward fold. Good, and then generously bend those knees again, and then you'll bring your seat to the floor. And we can straighten our legs in front of us here. Good. Let's bring the hands outside the hips again, with the palms facing up. Allowing the backs of the fingers to come towards the floor. Notice how your legs feel. Take a few breaths in stillness in this seat. Good. Slowly raise the arms up overhead. Noticing each sensation, the side body, the shoulder, the neck, the hips. When you feel those fingers rising high, breathe in. Exhale, lower the hands and the thumb knuckles come to the heart now. Good. Centering the awareness here at your chest, Anahata chakra. Tuning into this sense of reflection, of internal reflection. Notice what you're holding in your heart right now. Allowing the Priestess of Swords and the High Priestess to help answer this question for you. What are you holding in your heart? What do you value? What do you cherish? Deep breath together. Good. Slowly lower the hands to the floor. We'll draw this right knee in and then cross the foot over the left leg. We'll come to a spinal twist here. So your choice is to keep the left leg long. You might bend the knee if you want. We'll get into the twist in our own way, allowing the left elbow or hand to make contact with the right knee. You might draw that right hand back and around. Maybe you create a bind. You can notice the neck.
We'll take a few moments in this twist. Good, one more breath. We'll release the twist. Then we'll bring the right ankle to the left thigh, hands on the floor, and we can bend that left knee to bring that foot down. You might bring the hips forward or find that nice distance here. So feel this figure 4 in your hip. And if you feel a little too congested as you sit, you can bring it to your back. It's your choice here. Just breathe into the opening that you're creating in your right hip. Maybe little sways from side to side, perhaps. Good, notice the floor, notice your hips, notice your breath. One more big one. Good, as you're ready, come back to staff pose. Both legs straight, finding your seat, revealing those sit bones. Hands outside the hips, palms facing down now. Connect those palms to the floor. Feel the shoulders over the hips. Feel the back of the neck and the top of the head. Bring your gaze up to the ceiling. Noticing what it feels like to have these eyes looking up. Soften the jaw. And then through your discretion, slowly bring the face to look upwards, opening in the throat, lifting the head up. Going as far as feels comfortable. Tune into those hips and shoulders again. The hands and the feet. Good, open the mouth. Option to stick out the tongue. Good, and an option to create like a fire breath here, like a hissy sigh. Good, notice your next inhale whenever it comes to you. When you exhale, back to a neutral position in the head. Good, tune into what you feel. Slowly bring the gaze downward towards your own lap. Noticing your lap, your thighs. Notice what it feels in your eyes. And then allow the face and the neck to follow the gaze, tipping the chin down towards the chest. Again, notice the hips and shoulders. You might open and close the mouth again. Good. Really soften in the lips. And then an option here to blubber your lips like you're playing a brass instrument. Like a horse. Good. Loosening up. You might do another one. Good. And notice your breath. And then bring the head back to neutral position. Notice those hands and your seat on the floor. And be with yourself for a moment. Beautiful. As you're ready, we'll do the spinal twist on the other side. So bend that left knee, cross the foot over, twist to your left. It might be with your hand or elbow. Take a few moments, tune into the shoulder, the collarbone, the neck. Breathe and twist. Great, one more breath. Good, and release it. Let's come to our figure 4 position. Left ankle to right thigh. Grounding yourself with your hands, or maybe bringing the back to the floor. Just noticing this left hip for a bit. Good, another breath. Great, and then we can release this. Let's bring both bottoms of the feet to the floor with knees bent and just drop the knees from side to side. Great, and then we'll bring our backs to the floor and we'll lie down. Good. Finding this for a few moments. And then you might allow your pillows to come down, maybe one under the back of your head if you want, or just have one nearby, under the backs of your knees maybe. You might keep the soles of the feet on the floor. You might straighten the legs. Just lay down for a few moments. Do another scan of your body here. A scan of the air that surrounds you and your own breath. Let's recall these images of these cards again. The High Priestess and the Queen of Swords. The High Priestess seated, these open arms and legs and heart and mind between the two pillars. There's dark blues, crimson red right underneath her seat. It says in the guidebook that she's cleansing herself by shedding her menstrual blood. And she's sitting there in it, in what she has shed. Foundation of her seat is what she is cleansing, she's ridding of. We might ask ourselves what we can cleanse from our bodies, what we might cleanse from our minds. We can notice the High Priestess bring those images to our mind, the snowy images, shades of white with hints of blue perhaps, these airy vibes. What we might cleanse from our thoughts. There are different sides to these cards, and different ways to read them. Whether it be pulled upright, there's different meaning when it's reversed. Let's really take in all of the aspects of these cards. The high form, the high vibe of the Priestess of Swords has a clear mind, purpose, and direction. There's also a side of her that might have a little fogginess up there. Maybe she thinks these thoughts are clear, but they're actually twisted. Maybe instead of discernment on past experiences, there might be judgment or criticism. There may be a sense of loneliness, withdrawal. And same with the High Priestess, the shadow side could be having a hard time trusting your judgment or seeing below the surface. Thinking that you are elevating yourself when maybe perhaps there's some bypassing happening. These are the shadow sides. They also exist within us. It's so human and beautiful. Take a few moments to let any judgments or criticisms any fogginess and confusion and doubt that we might have. Just be in that and know that that's a part of it. Good. Notice the position of your body and widen it. Bring it to a star-shaped position. Widening the arms and legs. Maybe spreading those fingers wide too. Maybe even rolling the ankles and wrists a bit first. Or lifting the shoulders and hips up and the hands and arms up and out. Notice your entire edge, your outer edges. All that surface area. Scan your body. And center your awareness on the third eye. Bringing your focus here and just noticing this area of your body, the center of your forehead. And then send it down through the entire face and jaw and the head. Noticing the throat and neck. Send it out to the right arm, all the way down to the fingertips. And take a big breath throughout the entire right arm. Good. Send the awareness back in through the chest and shoulders. And then to the other side, out through the left arm. Notice the fingers, the length, and take a deep breath. Good. Bring it back to center and keep the awareness in the heart for a moment. Noticing the very front of your chest and the very back of your heart, the part that's touching the floor between your shoulders. Good. As you inhale, send it through both arms, all 10 fingers. Exhale. Good. Center the awareness now to your sacral chakra area, your feminine organs. Notice your womb. Noticing your pelvic floor, your hips, all the capability that may exist here, all the energy that may be held here. Any past experiences, any future. Hold what is here, breathe it in. Slowly release the breath. Good. Take another inhale whenever you do. Just notice your hips and pelvis. And then when you exhale, send it down the right leg, noticing through the knee, the ankle, heel, toes. Take another breath through the entire right leg. Really noticing the exhale whenever it comes to you. And then as you inhale next, bring it back to the hips, to the womb, to your center. Breathe in when you're ready. Exhale through the left leg. Good. Another deep breath through this left side. Noticing the exhale. The inhale centers it back to the sacral. Breathe in slowly and deeply in the lower abdomen and belly. Breathe in nice and fully and hold that breath in for a bit. What are you holding here? Hold it with the breath. Embrace it, notice it, love it. You might judge it, you might love it. Hold until you're comfortable. Exhale when you're ready through both legs. Allow the breath to travel where it does throughout your entire body. Just notice, be present for what is. How can we turn our judgments into acceptance? That's our own personal practice here. Many avenues to get there. The High Priestess and the Priestess of Swords say that they both seem to say it comes from within. Comes from that inner voice, from listening to these thoughts, from honesty and purity. Being true with the light and the shadows. This will lead us into Shavasana. You may reposition the body if you need. You may also make any other movements that you feel right for you before you set up for Shavasana. And maybe you stay exactly where you are. If you have a pillow or cushion or blanket or anything cozy, grab it now. Nurture yourself. You have some beautiful feminine cards to balance out last week's masculine emperor. A little more fluidity here. Do a scan of the body, scan of the thoughts. Begin to deepen your breath. Allow the breath and air to breathe a little more movement in the body. You can begin to maybe wiggle the fingers and toes. Maybe open and close the mouth. You might roll onto your side or press into any other type of pause position for you. Anything that feels right before you're ready to come to a seat. And without rushing, we'll find a seat facing one another through our webcams from afar. We can bring our one hand to our hearts and one hand to our bellies. Really feeling the full palm and the extension of the fingers connecting to your body. Thank you all for practicing. I invite you to close out practice with an Om with me. So we can inhale. Namaste. Thank you.
Oh, that was so nice. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Glad you're able to attend. Have a wonderful night, all.